The Quantum Gambit. The emergency lights cast an eerie red glow across the command center of Earth's last orbital defense station, Sentinel Prime. Admiral Helena Costa stood motionless before the tactical display, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic projection of humanity's remaining territories. Once spanning dozens of colonies across the solar system, human-controlled space had shrunk to Earth and a handful of lunar outposts. Everything else belonged to the HFY now. Titan Defense Base has gone dark, reported Commander Ellis, his voice flat from the emotional exhaustion of delivering such news too many times. That's our third outpost this month. Admiral Costa didn't react visibly. After 18 months of systematic retreat and defeat, another loss barely registered: casualties. Unknown. Communications cut mid-evacuation. Approximately 2,000 personnel were stationed there. 2,000 more lives. The tally in Costa's mind ticked upward, approaching the 1 billion mark. The HFY hadn't come to conquer or subjugate. They had come to eradicate and replace. Their crystalline technology functioned on principles that human science barely comprehended, making their shields impenetrable to conventional weapons and their precision strikes devastatingly effective. Admiral. A young officer called from her station. Captain Rice has arrived from Project Nemesis. She's requesting immediate clearance. For the first time in hours, Costa's expression shifted, a flicker of something almost like hope crossing her face. Send her in. Captain Maya Rice entered the command center with purposeful strides, her lean frame augmented by subtle neural enhancements, visible as faint blue lines beneath her skin. The left side of her head was shaved, revealing an intricate interface port that connected directly to her cerebral cortex. The military had once frowned upon such extensive modifications, but desperate times had changed many perspectives. Admiral, Maya acknowledged with a crisp salute. Project Nemesis is operational. We're ready for field deployment. Costa studied the younger woman carefully. The neural integration was successful. Yes, Mom. The fusion between human intuition and quantum computational systems is stable. I can confirm firsthand. The room fell silent as the implications settled. Project Nemesis had been humanity's most closely guarded secret for the past year. A desperate gambit built on captured HFY technology and radical theoretical physics. A warship that violated conventional understandings of spacetime, powered by a hybrid neural network that merged human consciousness with quantum AI. You volunteered as the neural pilot, Costa stated rather than asked. Maya's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. I did. The integration requires certain neural adaptations that I already possessed. The system works. Admiral, I've experienced it. Costa nodded toward a secure briefing room. Show me. Inside the sealed chamber, Maya activated a personal holographic projector. Above the table materialized a ship unlike anything humanity had previously constructed. Its hull seemed to shift and distort, as though it existed partially outside normal spacetime, which in fact it did. Nemesis doesn't just use HFY technology. It improves upon it. Maya explained. Their quantum crystalline structures follow strict mathematical patterns, elegant but ultimately predictable. We've developed a system that introduces calculated chaos, human intuition rendered into quantum variables. And you're the source of that intuition, Costa observed. I am. My consciousness extends throughout the ship's systems. I don't pilot Nemesis in any conventional sense. I become Nemesis. An older officer who had remained silent until now finally spoke up. What's the cost? General Wilson asked bluntly. No technology this advanced comes without sacrifice. Maya met his gaze evenly. Neural fatigue accumulates with extended fusion. Theoretical maximum safe operation is 36 hours before permanent cognitive damage begins. I can sustain combat operations for approximately 12 hours at peak efficiency. Wilson frowned. And you're still willing to? With respect, General, Maya interrupted. We're losing this war. The HFY have superior technology, superior numbers, and no interest in coexistence. Nemesis changes the equation. Admiral Costa studied the schematics more carefully. What are the offensive capabilities? Reversed engineered phase cannons that target the quantum structure of Axioni vessels. Maya answered. Conventional weapons try to overcome their shields with brute force. Our approach unravels the mathematical patterns that make their shields possible in the first place. Theory is one thing, Wilson muttered. Battlefield application is another. Maya's eyes hardened. We've detected an Axioni scout fleet approaching Jupiter's orbit. 4 vessels, standard configuration. Nemesis can intercept within 6 hours. Let me prove the concept, Admiral. Costa considered the proposal silently. The Axioni scout fleets were formidable enough on their own, each vessel capable of overwhelming an entire human battle group. But they were nothing compared to the main invasion force steadily working its way through the outer colonies. If Nemesis falls, Costa began. It won't, Maya stated with absolute certainty. But even if it did, the Axioni would only capture fragments. The neural integration system self-destroys if compromised. They might salvage some components, but nothing that would accelerate their campaign. Costa exchanged glances with Wilson. Despite his skepticism, the general gave a slight nod. What choice did they have? You have authorization, Captain Reyes, the Admiral finally declared. Intercept the scout fleet and demonstrate Nemesis's capabilities. 6 hours later, Maya stood in the neural integration chamber aboard Nemesis, suspended in a translucent gel while technicians connected filaments to her neural interface. The chamber resembled a medical pod redesigned by theoretical physicists, organic curves interspersed with crystalline structures that pulsed with soft blue light. Neural sync initiating in 30 seconds, announced Dr. Elena Chen, the project's lead scientist. Remember your training, Captain. The expansion will be disorienting at first. Don't fight it. Guide it. Maya closed her eyes. I'm ready. The integration began with what felt like an electric current running through her consciousness. Her perception suddenly exploded outward, extending through the ship's systems in all directions simultaneously. She could feel the cold vacuum against the hull, sense the quantum fluctuations surrounding Nemesis, process vast arrays of data that would overwhelm an unaugmented human mind. For one terrifying moment, Maya Rice ceased to exist as an individual. Her identity threatened to dissolve into the vast computational network, becoming just another variable in an impossibly complex equation. Then her military training reasserted itself. With tremendous mental discipline, she shaped the expanding consciousness, organizing it around her human core. She wasn't being replaced by the ship's systems. She was extending through them, becoming something greater while remaining fundamentally herself. When Maya opened her eyes, she saw the universe differently. Through Nemesis's sensors, she perceived quantum probabilities as tangible patterns, could track the movement of particles across millions of kilometers, and calculate jump trajectories that would have taken supercomputers hours to process. Neural integration successful, she reported, her voice overlaid with subtle harmonics from the ship's communication systems. Nemesis is operational. Vital stable, Dr. Chen confirmed. Neural pathways maintaining integrity. Ready to proceed when you are, Captain. Maya didn't respond verbally. Instead, she activated the quantum drive with a thought, feeling the ship's systems respond as naturally as her own limbs. Nemesis shifted, its specialized engines manipulating probability fields to reposition the vessel millions of kilometers away in an instant. Jupiter's massive form appeared on visual sensors, its swirling clouds a backdrop for the approaching Axioni scout fleet. The alien vessels resembled elongated crystals, their surfaces refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. Beautiful, in their way, but deadly. Each one carried enough firepower to level a city. Through Nemesis's advanced sensors, Maya could see the complex quantum fields that made the Axioni ships nearly invulnerable to conventional attacks. But she could also see something humans had never detected before. The mathematical patterns underlying those fields, the algorithm that gave them coherence. And where there was pattern, there was predictability. Where there was predictability, there was vulnerability. The Axioni detected Nemesis almost immediately, their vessels reorienting with fluid grace. Energy buildups indicated weapon systems coming online, the same weapons that had vaporized countless human ships and installations. Maya didn't evade. Instead, she pushed Nemesis directly toward the scout fleet, analyzing the quantum signatures of their shields. The alien vessels fired in perfect synchronization, energy beams that could cut through battleship armor like paper lancing toward Nemesis. But the human vessel wasn't where the beams struck. With Maya's consciousness guiding its quantum displacement system, Nemesis shifted between probability states, existing in multiple potential positions simultaneously before collapsing into a single reality, behind the Axioni formation. "Target locked," Maya announced, though she was now speaking more to herself than to any crew. Through neural command, she activated Nemesis's phase cannons. The weapons didn't fire conventional energy beams. Instead, they emitted precisely calibrated quantum disruption fields, designed to interfere with the mathematical patterns that gave Axioni technology its power. Where the fields touched the first scout ship, its crystalline structure began to destabilize, perfect patterns dissolving into chaotic configurations. The effect wasn't explosive or visually dramatic. The Axioni vessel simply unraveled, its component particles dispersing as their organizing principles ceased to function. The remaining 3 scouts immediately adjusted tactics, separating to attack from multiple vectors. Their weapon systems fired continuously, filling space with deadly energy that would have annihilated any conventional human vessel. But Nemesis wasn't conventional. With Maya's consciousness guiding its movements, the ship performed maneuvers that defied standard physics, shifting through probability states faster than the Axioni targeting systems could adapt. One by one, Maya targeted the remaining scouts with the phase cannons, watching through multiple sensory systems as the alien vessels disintegrated into component particles. The entire engagement lasted less than 4 minutes. When it was over, Maya allowed herself one moment of silent triumph before initiating a quantum jump back toward Earth orbit. Nemesis to command. She transmitted once within conventional communication range. "Scout fleet neutralized. 0 casualties on our side. Request immediate debrief with Admiral Costa." The response came swiftly, Admiral Costa's voice tight with controlled emotion. "Confirmed, Captain. Return to Sentinel Prime immediately. We're detecting massive quantum displacement signatures from the outer system. The Axioni main fleet has changed course. They're coming directly for Earth." Maya processed this information both as herself and as Nemesis, calculating probabilities and tactical scenarios at inhuman speed. "How long do we have?" "At their current velocity, 72 hours. Maybe less." Maya sensed the neural fatigue beginning to build in her consciousness, a subtle pressure that would eventually become unbearable. 12 hours of peak combat efficiency, the scientists had estimated. Against 4 scout ships, that had been more than enough. Against the main Axioni fleet, it wouldn't be. But as Nemesis approached Earth, Maya had already begun formulating a plan. The encounter with the scout fleet had revealed something crucial about Axioni technology, something that might just give humanity a fighting chance. "I know their weakness," she said simply, "and I know how to exploit it." The Defiance Protocol. The war room inside Sentinel Prime hummed with desperate activity as Earth's remaining military leadership gathered around the holographic display. At its center floated a 3-dimensional representation of the approaching Axioni main fleet, 87 crystalline vessels arranged in a perfect geometric formation that seemed to mock human chaos with alien precision. Admiral Costa stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her face illuminated by the red glow of proximity warnings. 70 hours until they reach Earth's orbit, she announced to the assembled officers. "Our conventional forces are deploying as we speak, but realistic projections give us no chance of victory through traditional means." The room fell silent, Everyone present understood the implications. Billions of lives depended on what happened in the next 3 days. Then we don't use traditional means, Maya Rice stated as she entered the war room. She had been in neural recovery for 6 hours since returning from the Jupiter engagement, and the strain showed in her movements. The blue neural lines beneath her skin pulsed irregularly, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. Still, her gaze remained sharp and focused. "Captain," Costa acknowledged. "The medical team reports you need at least another 12 hours before attempting neural integration again." Maya dismissed this with a slight shake of her head. "We don't have that luxury." The Scout Fleet engagement revealed something critical about Axioni technology. She stepped forward, gesturing at the holographic display. With a thought transmitted through her neural implants, she manipulated the projection, zooming in on one of the alien vessels. "Their quantum crystalline technology operates on perfect mathematical symmetry," she explained. "Every system, from propulsion to weapons to shields, follows the same fundamental patterns: elegant, efficient, but ultimately predictable." "Predictability means vulnerability," General Wilson observed, his earlier skepticism somewhat tempered by Nemesis's successful first engagement. "Exactly." Maya expanded the hologram further, revealing complex equations that describe the behavior of Axioni technology. "These patterns exist across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our conventional weapons attempt to overcome them through brute force, which is why they fail. But Nemesis's phase cannons target the patterns themselves." Dr. Chen, who had joined the briefing, raised a concern. "Even with Nemesis's capabilities, you can't possibly engage 87 vessels simultaneously. The neural load would be fatal," Maya finished bluntly. "Yes, one-on-one, Nemesis can dismantle their ships efficiently. But against the entire fleet, we need something more." She manipulated the hologram again, revealing a complex device housed deep within Nemesis's core. "This is the quantum resonance amplifier. It's designed to broadcast the phase disruption across a much wider area, potentially affecting multiple vessels simultaneously." "Potentially?" Costa questioned. "It's untested," Maya admitted, "and using it will significantly increase the neural load on the pilot. But mathematical models suggest it could work." General Wilson leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "What's the probability of success?" "With conventional pilots, 0. Dr. Chen answered before Maya could speak. "The neural strain would cause immediate brain death, even with Captain Rice's enhanced neural architecture." She hesitated. 27%, Maya stated, "assuming I can maintain coherent neural integration long enough to deploy the amplifier." A heavy silence fell over the room. Those weren't good odds, but they were better than what conventional forces offered. "And what happens to you if you succeed?" Costa asked quietly. Maya met her gaze steadily. "Best case scenario: severe neural damage requiring months of rehabilitation. Worst case," she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Admiral Costa studied the tactical display for several long moments, her expression unreadable. Finally, she straightened her shoulders. "Prepare Nemesis for immediate deployment. I want every advantage we can give Captain Reyes. If there's even a chance this works, we take it." As the officers dispersed to their stations, Dr. Chen approached Maya privately. "You didn't tell them everything," she said in a low voice. "No," Maya acknowledged. "I didn't. The resonance amplifier doesn't just attack their technology. It creates a cascading effect through their entire fleet. If it works as designed, it will rewrite the quantum states of every Axioni vessel within range," Maya finished, "essentially erasing them from our reality." Chen's eyes widened slightly. "That's beyond our theoretical understanding of physics." "So are the Axioni themselves," Maya replied. "Sometimes you have to fight incomprehensible with incomprehensible." 20 hours later, Maya stood once again in the neural integration chamber aboard Nemesis. The medical team had done what they could to prepare her body and mind for what was coming, but everyone knew it wouldn't be enough. Neural integration at this level, for this duration, would exact a terrible price. "Last systems check complete," reported the chief engineer through the chamber's communication system. "Quantum resonance amplifier is online but untested. We've routed additional power as requested." Maya acknowledged this with a nod, her attention already turning inward. The Axioni fleet had accelerated unexpectedly, now less than 40 hours from Earth. Intelligence suggested they had detected Nemesis's capabilities during the Jupiter engagement and adjusted their strategy accordingly. "Neural integration initiating in 20 seconds, Dr. Chen announced, her voice tight with concern. "Maya, good luck." As the countdown reached 0, Maya felt the now familiar electric surge through her consciousness as her mind expanded into Nemesis's systems. The disorientation was stronger this time, her pre-existing neural fatigue making it harder to maintain coherence as her awareness stretched across the ship's vast network. For several dangerous seconds, her identity fragmented, memories and personality threatening to dissolve into the quantum computational matrix. With tremendous effort, she reasserted herself, bringing the expanded consciousness under control. "Neural integration stabilized," she reported, though the strain was evident in her voice. "Nemesis is ready for deployment." The massive hangar doors opened, revealing the star-filled void beyond. With a thought, Maya activated the quantum drive, feeling Nemesis shift through probability states until it materialized at the designated intercept coordinates. The Axioni fleet was visible now, even to conventional sensors, a perfect geometric formation of crystalline vessels, advancing inexorably toward Earth. Through Nemesis's enhanced perception, Maya could see the complex quantum fields surrounding each alien ship, the mathematical patterns even more sophisticated than those of the scout vessels. The Axioni had indeed adapted after the previous engagement, their shields now incorporating additional layers of complexity. But complexity wasn't the same as unpredictability. "Nemesis to command," Maya transmitted. "In position. Axioni fleet detected and analyzed. Beginning engagement." Without waiting for a response, she propelled Nemesis forward, pushing the quantum displacement system to its limits. The human vessel shifted between probability states so rapidly that to an external observer, it would appear to be in multiple locations simultaneously, a visual echo of impossible movements. The Axioni reacted immediately, their formation adjusting with fluid precision. A dozen vessels broke from the main group, surrounding Nemesis in a three-dimensional containment pattern. Their weapons fired in perfect synchronization, creating a web of destructive energy that would have vaporized any conventional ship. Maya didn't evade as she had during the scout engagement. Instead, she pushed deeper into the quantum nature of Nemesis, accessing capabilities that had been purely theoretical until now. The ship didn't just shift between probability states, it existed within multiple states simultaneously, allowing the deadly energy beams to pass through spaces where Nemesis both was and wasn't. The phase cannons fired, targeting the nearest Axioni vessel. The alien ship's perfect crystalline structure began to unravel as its quantum patterns were disrupted. But unlike the scout ships, this vessel had redundant systems, its patterns reforming almost as quickly as they were broken down. The Axioni were learning, adapting. Maya felt a spike of neural pain as she pushed Nemesis's systems harder, targeting 3 vessels simultaneously with more precisely calibrated disruption fields. 2 began to destabilize, their recovery systems overwhelmed, while the third maintained integrity. More Axioni ships converged on Nemesis, their weapons systems evolving in real time as they analyzed the human vessel's capabilities. Maya executed a series of quantum jumps that should have been impossible, each one placing increasing strain on her neural connection. Warning indicators flashed across her expanded consciousness. Her brain was beginning to show signs of stress damage. "Nemesis, this is command." Admiral Costa's voice cut through the battlefield chatter. "Sensors indicate the Axioni fleet is adapting to your attack pattern. What's your status?" "Engaged with 17 vessels," Maya reported, her voice strained as she simultaneously calculated jump trajectories and weapons targeting. 4 neutralized, but they're learning faster than anticipated. Neural load at 78% capacity. There was a brief pause. Can you withdraw and regroup? Maya didn't immediately answer. Through Nemesis's sensors, she was analyzing the Accioni fleet structure more deeply than had been possible from a distance. The perfect geometric formation wasn't just tactical, it was functional. The ships were quantum entangled, sharing information and energy across their network instantaneously, which meant they shared vulnerabilities as well. Negative on withdrawal, she finally responded. I've identified the resonance frequency for their fleet-wide quantum entanglement. Preparing to deploy the amplifier. Maya, the amplifier wasn't designed to target an entire fleet at once. Dr. Chen broke in, her voice urgent. The neural feedback could be catastrophic. It's our only option, Maya stated simply. The Accioni are adapting too quickly for ship-by-ship engagement. Through her neural link, she began reconfiguring the quantum resonance amplifier, adjusting its parameters to target the specific frequency she had identified. The device had never been tested at this scale, and the calculations required to calibrate it properly were pushing her augmented mind to its limits. As she worked, the Accioni continued their assault. A particularly powerful blast caught Nemesis in a momentary probability convergence, partially penetrating its quantum defenses. Maya felt the impact as if it were against her own body, pain flaring through her neural network. Warning indicators escalated to critical levels. Neural load at 92%, she reported, her voice now audibly distorted by the strain. Amplifier calibration at 87% complete. Maya, your vital signs are deteriorating, Dr. Chen warned. Your brain can't sustain this level of integration much longer. Maya knew this better than anyone. She could feel her consciousness beginning to fragment again, parts of her identity blurring into Nemesis's systems. Memories became harder to access. Emotional responses dulled as her brain reprioritized functions to maintain the critical neural pathways. But she was so close. With one final push of concentration, she completed the amplifier's calibration. The device hummed to life at Nemesis's core, generating a quantum disruption field tuned precisely to the frequency of the Accioni fleet's entanglement. Amplifier deployed, she announced, her voice barely recognizable now. Targeting full Accioni formation. The effect began subtly, a slight distortion in the perfect geometric pattern of the alien fleet. Then, like a crystalline structure struck at precisely the right resonance frequency, the disruption propagated exponentially. Ship after ship began to destabilize, their quantum patterns unraveling as the amplifier's effect spread through their entangled network. The Accioni responded with desperate adaptations, their technology shifting to new configurations in an attempt to break the quantum entanglement. But Maya had anticipated this. Through Nemesis, she adjusted the amplifier's frequency in real time, tracking the changes in the alien quantum signatures. Her consciousness was failing now, neural pathways collapsing under the immense strain. Through fragmenting perception, she watched as the Accioni fleet's perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Ship after ship destabilized completely, their crystalline structures dissolving into component particles that dispersed harmlessly into space. In her final moments of coherent thought, Maya activated Nemesis's automated return protocol, setting course for Earth before her consciousness shattered completely. The last thing she perceived, through Nemesis's sensors, was the complete absence of the Accioni fleet. 87 warships erased from existence by a technology they had never anticipated. Human ingenuity merged with their own principles, but applied in ways their logical minds couldn't comprehend. 3 weeks later, Maya Rise opened her eyes to the sterile white ceiling of a medical recovery room. Her body felt strange, disconnected, as though she were experiencing it from a great distance. When she tried to move her hand, the response was delayed and clumsy. "Take it slow," came a familiar voice. Admiral Costa moved into her field of vision, looking more rested than Maya had ever seen her. "Your neural pathways are still regenerating." Maya tried to speak, found it difficult. On her third attempt, she managed to form words. The Accioni. Gone, Costa said simply. Your amplifier didn't just destroy their fleet. It sent a quantum disruption pulse through their entanglement network that reached all the way back to their home systems. Our long-range sensors have confirmed it. Their entire civilization has unraveled. Maya absorbed this information slowly, her damaged mind struggling to process the implications. Casualties. None on our side, Costa replied. You got Nemesis back to Earth on autopilot before your neural systems shut down completely. The doctors weren't sure you'd ever wake up again. With great effort, Maya turned her head to look out the window. Earth was visible below, its blue oceans and white clouds untouched by the war that had nearly consumed humanity. In orbit around it, she could see the construction of new stations, human civilization already rebuilding. The neural technology, she asked. Being studied carefully, Costa answered. Your experience has shown us both its potential and its dangers. We're proceeding with caution. Maya nodded slightly, closing her eyes as fatigue washed over her. Good. As she drifted toward sleep, her consciousness, now confined once again to her singular human mind, felt simultaneously diminished and relieved. She had experienced existence as something greater, had stretched the boundaries of human perception to their breaking point and beyond. And in doing so, she had discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in mimicking the logical perfection of beings like the Accioni. It was in embracing the chaotic, the unpredictable, the intuitive. The illogical humanity that alien minds could never truly comprehend. In the vastness of space, Nemesis waited in its secure dock, its quantum systems powered down but not dismantled. Humanity had earned its reprieve, but the universe was vast and largely unknown. Other threats would eventually emerge. And when they did, humanity would be ready, not just with advanced technology, but with the unique perspectives and adaptability that had saved them from extinction. The unpredictable creativity that even the most advanced alien intelligence couldn't anticipate. The defiance that was humanity's true strength.